Hi everyone. Just a short video just to share a little bit of work on a bowl for scrying. For the identity of thieves, or for various other things that I'll explain as I go through, but various other things I use these staves for. Although they are typically called staves to identify thieves, you can use them for other things too. Me, as well as many in my group, have had good success. Various people I've spoken to about these staves online over the years as well have had varying levels of success with using these for discovering the identity of plenty of other things, not specifically thieves, as well as for answering various questions. In my opinion, although they're called staves to find thieves, they are really just good scrying aids. So I recommend them for that rather than just finding thieves. But I'll go into that as we go through the video, so I hope you enjoy. So today I'm carving some of these divination staves into this bowl. I've done this with a few different bowls in the past, but I thought I would try one with a bunch of different ones in there. These staves are all from LBS 24138BO. It's one of the two that are contained in Tvær Galdursskræður. This one, at least I got this copy from the Sorcery Museum in Iceland. But they're on handwrit as well. You can find them on, I'll link them in the bit below in the caption. But yeah, I'm just carving them with this like lino cutting, what's the word, awl. Obviously I've made a couple of mistakes, but they're as good as I can make them at least, and it will be good enough for, hopefully good enough for what I want to do with them. I'm going to eventually carve some on the bottom as well. I've started marking them out a little bit. This bowl, this is just like a cheap, I think it was mango wood from H&M Home, or like some home store. I'm trying it with this sort of wood just to see if it works as well. I will get another, like a fresh birch bowl that I will try with that, because just the virtues of the birch seem much more appropriate. But this is more to see how the staves work than how the virtue of the wood works. So yeah, so I'll just see how they go. So now that it's carved, I am going to light some charcoal. I'm going to burn a little bit of incense and to fumigate it to bless it. I do this with really every new tool I make, which is quite often quite a few different bowls, quite a few different sticks and staves and staffs and things like that. I'll read out a blessing, which is used to consecrate anything from being touched by evil spirits. And so to consecrate against evil spirits, I don't mean, that there's like maybe something in particular evil that is watching me, that is waiting for me to not do this and use it against me. What I mean is just to consecrate a tool so that unclean spirits and tricksters and that sort of thing can't use it, basically can't influence what I'm going to be learning from this tool. So I'm going to be using this Benedictine Church incense. This is from Phytonosis. So US people, you should check out his store. It's very, very good. I'm going to use just a little bit of this, and then I will read out my invocation and blessing. And as well as being effective, this smells incredible. So very much recommend. Agios, Athanatos, Vero, Kel, Ditstos, Perpetual Light, Eternity, Star of Stars, Sanctifier of the Universe, descend, wither and consecrate this bowl, this tool of the art, in the same way designed to receive my prayers that I direct to you among this incense. Amen. And then, as always, before I do any sort of working with it, or with any tool, really with anything, I'll use the chant that I use for cleansing most often. So that's Fjón færi ég að mér fjanda mína, rann og reiði rykramana. So it's pretty simple. Just carve, consecrate. I will follow the instructions for each of these staves in particular. I'm working with these later, and I'll read out a little bit of information about this as well as I point through each one. But this is essentially this is it now. It's ready to go. It's consecrated. It's carved. The staves will need to be anointed with a drop of blood. I'm not going to do that on camera. Obviously, this is not something we should be doing on camera. But yeah. So at the top here we have the first one. The instructions say to just carve this into the bottom of a dinner bowl. Dinner bowl, like as the askur, as the bowl. In the past in Iceland, people would have just used one bowl for everything. That is the bowl. So where it says dinner bowl, this is dinner bowl, this is wash bowl, this is herb preparing bowl, this is food making bowl, this is everything bowl. So you don't have to specifically just use a dinner bowl. Though if you did want to specifically use a dinner bowl and you were thinking to go word for word, use any bowl that you've used for dinner. So you can get a fresh bowl like this, eat dinner out of it once, give it a wash and a clean. It's a dinner bowl if you wanted to be that sort of perfect with it, but you don't have to do that. So carve this stave into the bottom of a dinner bowl, grind yarrow as well as possible into it, and fill the bowl with water and say these words. I ask that because of the nature of the herb and the effect of the water that I will see the shadow of him who has stolen from me and others. This is for revealing the identity of thieves. This is for scrying in the water in the bowl to identify thieves. I have used this successfully to identify more than just thieves. I've not, luckily, really had the need to identify that many thieves. But you can use this to identify various things, to scry for various things. It doesn't have to be thieves. You can use this, and as well as these other symbols as well. You don't have to use them all specifically to identify thieves. You can identify various other things with this as well. At least that's been my experience and the experience of many friends in Iceland. For those who want the Icelandic read out, I'll just read it out quick. Þess æski ég fyrir grasins náttúru og vatsins verkan að ég sjái skugga þess sem stólið hefur bæði frá mér og öðrum. My Icelandic is not perfect, sorry for anyone watching this in Iceland. My Icelandic is getting slowly better the longer I live here, but it is not perfect, so I'm sorry if I'm reading things not perfectly well. But yeah, that's the first one. So yarrow is used. Yarrow is ground fine. So I'll grind this yarrow up to use. Also other yarrow for the inclusion of herbs and stuff. For me, it's like we could infuse the yarrow in the water already. We could make like a hot infusion. Use that. We could let the ground, like the powder, float on top of the water. We could do that. We can make a hydrosol of yarrow, so we have like a distilled water of that plant. We could use that. I've used hydrosols like that in place of plants floating on water to great effect. So I think there's something to that, and especially with sort of alchemical like Paracelsus stuff, making spagyric tinctures. If you do that sort of thing, to make a hydrosol, if you've got the equipment. As well as you can just use a pan. I make hydrosols in pans with the lid turned upside down, with ice on top. So that's a thing that you can do. But have a look for that. Google, various methods because it's very easy. You could with the yarrow itself that you're using, you could go out say on midsummer, so on Jónsmessunótt or Jónsmessu, 24th of June. Like the old midsummer date, you could go and gather yarrow on that day. It doesn't have to be that day. You could do it on various other days and times. If you were going just by like a weekday and hour of a certain planet, as it's scrying, as it's more sort of, psychic powersy stuff, I would gather it on a Monday. It can be a holy Monday if there's a particular Monday that is a holy Monday coming up for wherever you are, whenever you are. Or you could, just gather it regularly on a Monday in, I would say, either the hour of the moon or the hour of Mercury. That's probably the quickest and easiest way to get the sort of virtues out of this plant that we want. Much more about that in my book, so I won't go into like a massive description of this now. But yeah, to gather yarrow on a special day, maybe a day of Mary as well. There's lots of special days of Mary, which, yarrow is very special to Mary in Iceland and Icelandic tradition. As well as the goddess Freya, if you're more specifically like Ásatrú and Nordic pantheon inclined, and you don't want to use particular sort of Christian-y stuff, then that's completely fine. Yeah, I would gather that on any of those sort of special days. If they fall on Monday, that's wonderful. If they don't, don't stress. On the day of the full moon, in a pinch is a good idea. The full moon, being then you are looking for lunar virtue. This is a good time under the full moon to gather this, especially if that full moon falls on a Monday. That's wonderful. But you don't need to. It's good to layer these things up, but you don't have to if you need this in a pinch sort of thing. To make a hydrosol of yarrow like this that's gathered in a certain time that's relevant to this work would be really ideal. So I very much recommend that. Then you would fill the bowl with the water. Then scry. I recommend for people who aren't so used to scrying and stuff like that, who aren't maybe so experienced with it. Don't be discouraged if you sit with it and you look in the water and nothing really comes to mind. And I think comes to mind is a really good phrase to use with this, because it's not, maybe you'll see, visually, maybe you'll see something, who knows. But this is happening in our mind's eye. This is that we're looking into the water. We're scrying in the water. We're using that water as sort of a vessel, of a channel to have information given to us, or to more easily receive that information within our mind's eye. That's the thing. It's not going to, magically appear before us. It's going to really appear in here more than anywhere else. So, so I recommend just giving it a go. See, if it doesn't immediately work, don't be put off. Scrying as a technique, some people will take to very naturally, some people won't take to very naturally. So just experiment with that and see how it goes. Don't be put off. In terms of other herbs, like it specifically says yarrow, but we could use any other lunar herb if yarrow doesn't grow near you. We could work with other plants that tend to reveal things. So eyebright is used quite a lot in Icelandic magic to reveal stuff. Any sort of lunar or combo of like a lunar or a mercurial plant. So let's say maybe like peppermint and what's another good, more sort of common general European lunar plant? Maybe mugwort would be a good idea. So gather these at certain times that are specific to the work if you want. So on a Monday, in the hour of Mercury or in the hour of the moon would be ideal, or any of the other times that I've mentioned. We could make the same sort of hydrosol with these, or we could just make an infusion, or we could just lay them in the bowl. Test out various methods, see how it feels. You don't need to be doing this exactly word for word, because I've found through many years of experience that word for word is not, it's not the be and end all. You don't have to, once you sort of get the technique and you realize where these timings, where these sorts of things come from, it's easier to play around with and you get slightly different results. But the focus really is to bring in these virtues that will help us see, reveal things or activate more sort of psychic-y, powery stuff of working out, okay, this is showing me this image of this person, or I'm seeing, the reflection of this person in the water, I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. Suddenly this person has just popped into my head. Okay, this may be the person who stole something. Or, if you're not using it for locating or working out the identity of thieves, to think, any sort of question, any sort of answer that you're looking for, you can scry for in this, in this sort of way, in this bowl with these staves. I've had success finding out like really super specific bits of information, Also, like working out where people are or like where something might be hidden. That's a really good thing as well. There's a lot of like treasure finding magic in Nordic stuff, especially in Swedish trolldom as well. So yeah, you could use it for various different things. So just give it a go and see how it goes. So that's for the first one. So for the second one, this little face, sort of skeleton, creepy looking pumpkin guy. This one, carve this stave on the bottom of an unused wash bowl or a good piece of with a good piece of basalt rock. Let spring water run into it, which comes up facing east and north. So from a spring that's either the direction of the spring is flowing to the east or to the north. For me, particularly like in Iceland, obviously it's super easy because you have mountains everywhere. So there's a lot of springs, like not springs, from the earth, but water flowing down from mountains. So it's super easy. But in Sussex, when I'm in Sussex, there's a particular spring that I use in my hometown, which is facing north. The spring is coming up on the north side of the hills, so that's very useful. But this north flowing stream is often used, like water from a north flowing stream is a pretty commonly used bit of materia within Nordic folk magic, northern folk magic, not just Nordic, other northern countries as well. So water that comes out of these, spread ash of a rowan tree over it, and you will see the likeness of the thief. So again, it's like either super finely ground or ash of a tree, and it's rowan in this instance. Rowan to me doesn't have as many of the sort of necessary virtues for this work. So I don't know if I would use rowan so much with this. I've used it with yarrow. Yarrow grows everywhere in Iceland, so that's very easy for me. Again, yeah, mugwort could work very well with this. Or if you don't really even need the herbal aspect, then you have the stave in the bowl, you've got the water coming from the spring. That's the important bit as well for this particular one. So for this one, you don't need to necessarily stick to this rowan tree ash. You can use finely ground herbs as well, or if you wanted to use the rowan, then you could definitely do that, or you could grind rowan berries very fine. That might take a while, but you can do it. Or make a hydrosol from the berries, from the leaves, whatever you would like to as well with that. For the next few, so these two together, these top two. So the instructions for these say, the following staves can be carved with a pencil on the bottom of a washing bowl. Sprinkled dry yarrow taken from the earth on the night of Old St. John's Mass. So again, that's the 23rd is Jónsmessunótt, 24th, the Old Solstice, 24th of June, that is, sorry, yeah. So 23rd of June. Gather yarrow on this night. And within the night as well, it says. And in Iceland, remember, like at that time of year, there's no night. It's twilight for maybe like 2 hours, not even that. And then it's like back to being day. So this probably comes then from older stuff, or at least this spell was adapted to Iceland from maybe something from Denmark or maybe something from Sweden. Although those places also have very, very long days in summer, so it could be from somewhere further south. Not sure. But gather it on this day, on the night of Old St. John's Mass, and say, I wish and pray for the greatness of these staves and the nature or power of the herbs, that the picture of who has stolen from me will appear distinctly before my eyes, so I see him, and thus you will also see him. Do this with passion and unwavering faith, is what it says as well, which is fun. Lots of these staves, especially from this manuscript, it says, do this with good faith, do this with unwavering faith, which I think, for me personally, doing these things and seeing the results is what's given me this unwavering faith. I don't know if it's necessarily something you can start out with, so just give it a try and see how it feels. This one again, it's super easy. You just carve this in the bowl, or this one in particular, it says draw with pencil on the bottom as well, so you could try that. And then the important bit is the yarrow, and then the words of the spell as well, which I'll put everything in the description as well for this one. So the third and last one is page 30 in Tvær Galdraskræður. If you can't find this in bookshops and stuff, which I don't really think you can, I think you only you have to buy it from the museum. it would be ideal. Also support them; they're great. Anna, who runs the museum at the moment, she's wonderful. So like, definitely buy this and support them. This is I would say like one of the best places to get manuscripts like this. You can obviously get them online, but then unless you speak Icelandic and you're very good at deciphering incredibly small writing, it's not going to be massively helpful. It's taken me the better part of like nearly 8 years to get to the point where I can now look at manuscripts and be comfortable and fairly confident in knowing what's being written. That's also 8 years worth of context that most people won't have when they're just trying to do a bit of Icelandic magic. So yeah, definitely get a copy of this book. Very, very good. I'll put a link to the website as well in the video, in the caption. So yeah, thank you for watching. This is more of just a sort of show and tell of like how to do this sort of stuff, little bits of advice, stuff like that. I will be posting more of this sort of thing. More just like simple workings and stuff like that, because I feel like without the sort of context around these things, there's quite a lot of misinformation out there. In particular, there's quite a few books that are completely lacking of context. It's just simple translation, which it doesn't miss huge amounts of stuff for some things, but with other workings I've seen, it's like it misses incredibly like the point of what it is. Often bits of material that you use are translated completely incorrectly, which like where the material itself doesn't always matter so much if you have exactly the right stuff. It's more useful, I think, to know what is being spoken about rather than like a very basic translation which does not really cover what it actually is needed for the spell. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you everyone for watching.